Hi, everyone. My name is Nana Vinar. I have written a book, and I'm really excited about it. It's called Strength in the Seasons, 52 Devotional Reflections on the Farm. And I'm really, really tickled with how it came together, and I've been so blessed by the whole process of writing it, and I can't wait to get it into the hands of many other people. The inspiration for this book came from the COVID period, when I had even more time to be outside. I just found that all of my time being outdoors on our hobby farm, it just breathed fresh life into me. We felt a little bit stuck. We couldn't go and do like we usually did during those years. And we had extra children at home. There were just different tensions in the air from everything that was going on. And I would just go outside and talk to my steers and breathe. And that extra time, God just started showing me lessons. And they were hidden in the regular things that I was already doing. I was feeding the chickens and picking up eggs and weeding in the garden and just, nothing big, nothing flashy, but it was what I did every day. And I would come in from being outside and I would just take a few notes like, this one thing happened. And as I think about it more and more, I think it meant something. I think God was talking to me about something particular about the tadpoles I saw in the puddle that formed. Time was so loose and free that I could just sit and watch these tadpoles for an hour if I wanted to. It was a very hard time and uniquely special as well. My personal journey, I think, as I look back on what has come together in these 52 lessons, a lot of the theme, if you could pull out one theme, it would be to trust God. If I spend any time with any of my sisters in Christ and I want to encourage them, I'll just find in my own heart, I want you to be able to trust God where it's hard. And it is hard. And it's not human. It's supernatural to be able to trust our Creator with what He's given us, with what He's asking of us, what He's growing us in. And so I did find that theme come through a lot of these chapters. I would look in whatever I was doing that day on the farm, and God was teaching me those lessons of trust me, see how this chicken is not worried. See how these flowers are going to bloom. This vegetable garden is going to produce a lot of vegetables for you. It's not stress. It's not keyed up. It's trusting. So I think that's one of the biggest themes. One of the different things I think about this devotional, each chapter, I don't know if I can show, but each chapter starts with a story. Something that I experienced on the farm, something I saw, something I did, whatever. There's a story and a beautiful piece of artwork, and then application and verses and questions. So the story part is what stands out to me most. Like I would see something, I would sit and watch for hours this one little chicken family and their interactions and imagine what this one poor older chicken was feeling and thinking. And then as I would write it together, that whole story part would stick with me. And for that whole day, for that whole week, for those 2 weeks that I worked on that chapter, I would be thinking about the story, and it would immediately feed into the verses that God was speaking to me about that lesson. You matter. Your seasons change. Just because they change and you've moved from one season to another doesn't mean that the previous season doesn't matter anymore. These lessons that God was teaching me seems to stick in my mind on a remembering basis because there was a story involved. And then I think back to, that's how Jesus taught us in the Gospels. He was always using parables. And it was a relatable thing to the agrarian society then. He was talking about fishing. He was talking about the farmers sowing seeds and vineyards and things that everybody would understand because they were right there in the middle of their lives. And I think that helped the people relate and remember and embrace what Jesus was teaching at the time. I feel like that's a lot of what I tried to do here. Yeah, I really did feel like God taught me something in each chapter. And that's sort of what inspired me to write it down and then accumulate 52 of them and want to share them with other people. I know I told Kendrick, my husband, at one point, I said, holding my manuscript, I said, if I never do anything with this process has been priceless for me. The time that God has just been ministering to my heart, from being outside, from seeing all of these life practical lessons that I've been able to mull over and ponder and grow in many, many areas of my life. I sensed that was super powerful for me. Now that I am making small group material out of this book, I picked 8 random chapters to highlight, and I'm using the same story, and then I'm digging deeper into the issue. How like God that He's limitless. I haven't finished this topic. Silly me to even dream that I would finish a topic of like how to turn worry into peace. How could I get to the end of that? And so I'm continuing to learn more and more as I dig and make lessons for the small group studies. So if you're in our small group, you'll be able to have this book and to read what's in here and to learn from that. And then when you show up, we'll have 8 weeks of 8 chances to go even deeper into specific chapters and specific issues. And I hope that blesses you as much as it has me in the writing of them. This came together bits and pieces with the creative people that I was working with my artist friend. Boy, I just started writing lessons thinking, this is for me. Oh, it's so good. I want to share it. And then I would ask Kendrick, so I have these lessons that I'm putting together. It's kind of a devotional form. And what do you think I can do with this? And he said, well, I don't know. Let's think about it. Why don't you write a few more? I had written maybe 40 something of them, and I brought them to Kendrick again. And I said, what do you think I can do with these? And he said, why don't you write 52 of them? And then it's 1 per week for the year. Oh, I super cannot do that. I am out of ideas. And he's like, no, I believe in you. I did. I went back at it, and I would sit in the afternoons when I was tired from all of my farm working and put my feet up on the couch and start typing out. And then more and more came, and I ended up with 52. The whole putting it together into a book just came together piece by piece with finding my artist friend Lois Peterson, who's at Grace Church, and kind of inspiring her. We met, and I showed her all the photos I had taken from all of these escapades that I had experienced. And so she was able to paint a lot of these from photos, which really helped her know exactly what I was talking about. And I love it because this is not just a painting of a chicken coop. This is my chicken coop in my farm, right where it belongs. And then when we worked with Ethan Ramirez, and he had the idea of, I don't know if you can see all of the colors. He has a color block page, and I just think this is so great. There's a color for each season. As you go through the year, the color pages morph from one color to the next as the seasons do. And that just, I don't know, it just really makes me smile that it all comes together in this beautiful book. So my favorite devotional in this book, I don't really have a favorite, but I can pick one that I was thinking about today. Don't worry about tomorrow. How can we release more of our cares to God? And a picture of our beautiful dog, Lainey. This is Kendrick's hunting dog, his precious hunting dog. And it's a relatable lesson because a lot of people have dogs. And if you have a dog, you know that they don't anticipate usually what you're going to do and get all wound up about it. They don't know you're going on a big trip tomorrow. and are going to leave them alone for a week or with a friend for a week. They're not worried. They're peaceful. And I just think if I remember the day, I think the story in that chapter talks about we were going to send Lainey off to the breeder trainer for some of her field dog competitions. And she used to go do that for, months at a time. And we would miss her terribly. And so we would give her a little love, extra love that day and say, oh my gosh, Lainey, you're going to go away and be with Mike. But she was like, you're taking me out for walks. I'm getting all my food. That's a memorable lesson for me is, you know what? I don't know what's coming up tomorrow, but God's taking care of me. Actually, I want to highlight one more chapter for you as well. It's called Some Things Break. There's a nice painting of our trusty golf cart that stopped being a trusty golf cart when, as I was driving it one day, one wheel broke off and rolled away. And I sat in the golf cart saying, no, I need you. On the farm, or maybe at your house too, if you have vehicles and tools and things that you rely on and trust to serve you, they break. They need an oil change. They have a flat tire. Your HVAC, something will happen. Your roof needs reshingling. But I just looked at the color block page for this chapter. It says God uses the broken things to draw you closer to Him. I wrote this before I broke my leg last February. And boy, if that is not true, that God used my broken leg to bring me closer to Him. Wow. Layers and layers of truth that encourage our hearts and bring us back to, you know what? God's got you. Even if things break, He's putting us together stronger than ever, stronger in different ways than I was before. Do I have plans for another devotional or project? Yes-ish. Kendrick and I have thought about writing a parenting book together. We have thought about that a lot. Well, together we've taught a parenting class, and I have material for teaching a parenting class for the parents of infant and up to 5-year-old. I also have drafted some children's books. I think that would be really fun. One that I've played with a little bit is the ABCs on the farm. I want to write a book like that for our grandkids. We have one little grandbaby who's 5 months old, not quite reading, but I would love to play with a project to write for our grandkids. Other than that, we'll just play it by ear and see. I didn't necessarily plan on writing this, just kind of found me. So let me tell you a little bit about the small group. I think it's a unique morning that we're putting together for you. It's on Tuesday mornings. We start March 11. We'll meet for 8 Tuesday mornings in a row. First one, you'll show up at 9 o'clock. And the first 30 minutes, we'll have a social time, which is so important to get to know the people in our spiritual family. To be able to go a little bit beyond the, hey, how are you, as you just run right by them in the foyer with mayhem and kids, and you'll get to talk a little deeper. We'll have the coffee shop open with free coffee specialty drinks. We'll have some snacks provided. If you have school-age children, we're going to have one of the moms make farm-related activities for your children to do on the playground. So that first 30 minutes is get to know each other, have a drink, have a snack, and do something with the children. Then at 9:30, we'll go into the worship center for 1 hour. We'll have about 12 minutes that I will speak on a certain chapter. You won't need to read it ahead. You won't need to do any homework. You don't need to even own the book or bring it. You can just show up just to make it as easy for you as possible. But we're going to dig into some more information that's not in the book. Then for the last 45 minutes of that hour in the worship center, we're going to break up into small groups. And you'll have a small group leader. You'll have a group of girls that you'll get to know better. It won't change every week. That will be the same group. And we'll have some discussion questions where we can bat around some ideas and learn from each other. And then we can have some prayer time where we can pray for each other and support each other in whatever season that we're in. At the end, we're going to offer a walk-in time One of the small group leaders has offered to lead a 30-minute walk, and you can bring your children or not bring your children. There will be childcare provided for the whole 2-hour block from 9 to 11. So if you want to hustle back and get your children or pop your little in a stroller or whatever, then we're going to take a quick 15-minute walk out and then back to Grace Church, wrap up our morning by 11 or 11:30 in there somewhere. I want to provide for time that you can just visit peacefully with the people that you're getting to know. I'm really looking forward to this community time, getting to know the other women of faith that you're walking alongside as we grow in Jesus together. If you're interested in joining our small group this spring in March, you can go to gracelife.com/women, and there's a place there to sign up for our small group, and we would love to have you. It's really soon. It's March 11th. If you can't come on March 11th, you can hop in at any of the 8 weeks. You can start on the 8th week if that works for you. These don't build on each other. They're individual nuggets of time, and we would love to have you for any and all.